Maja Albarran is an energy healer and alchemist devoted to transmutation and transformation through the sacred violet flame. Guided by the presence of El Moria, who gifted her the divine tool that is the violet flame, she firmly walks the path of spiritual service and encourages you to do the same by holding space for healing, awakening, and the restoration of soul light. Maja and I connected during the formation of NEO as a business entity, as she gave me the final confirmation I needed to proceed with the New Earth Order and turn it into reality by completing the manifestation process from receiving the vision to doing something about it. In many ways, she was the final catalyst in the process of setting up NEO as an official platform that builds upon the foundation represented in the keywords I received many years ago: justice, education, peace, childcare, media, and nature. In this episode, we talk about the New Earth Order, the vision for the New Earth, and how we each have a role to play in the divine plan. If you're ready to tap into your higher self and the limitless resources of your soul, this episode is for you. Thank you for joining us in mapping out the New Earth. Do you ever feel like you're living in an episode of Black Mirror? Like no one truly thinks about the future as long as they can make the most of today. The past, long forgotten, even though it was given to us so we can learn from it. Aren't you tired of sounding like a broken record? Of chasing dreams that are getting you nowhere in life? You want to create positive change on Earth, but you seem to be the only one who cares. Shush now, dreamer. Calm your worries. The New Earth messengers have arrived. We've been here for a while now, actually, patiently waiting for our activation time. And this is it. New Earth On is a podcast about exploring how we can channel higher consciousness into the everyday experiences of Earth so that we can transform our world for the better. And, save the planet. Together, we'll reimagine Earth in a way that allows us to stay connected to our consciousness across every aspect of life: family, work, society, even our own identity. Your higher self is calling you back home. I hear there's another golden age for us on the other side. If you're ready to embark on a lifelong adventure filled with purpose and joy, let's map out the New Earth together. So I've invited you to NEO, the New Earth On podcast and the New Earth Order platform to ask your thoughts, your feedback, your vision around what the New Earth looks like, but also what the New Earth Order looks like, feels like in an integrated world where we're not just talking about a brand new Earth for us all, but rather how can we get there step by step? Is it realistic to dream about a new Earth? What are some of the misconceptions about the new Earth? And I think the most logical place to start is, when did you first hear about the concept of the New Earth Order in NEO, which is how we connected?
Yes. I guess it was more of a connection with the Galactic Federation of Light. And I felt like I had to start this thing called the New Earth Order. It's just out of nowhere. I knew about this and I knew I had to start, and I had the urge, and I was like, okay, we have to do something about this. We have to start the New Earth Order. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going to happen. But I need to start doing something. And that's where, okay, I went online, I started looking for information, and that's where I found you. And I was like, hey, we need to start doing something for this New Earth Order.
You messaged me at the start of the year, and NEO arrived to me at the end of 2023 with just a couple of keywords. I've captured this many times on different platforms, on LinkedIn, on the website. but I didn't know what to do with these keywords. I knew they were important. I wrote them down, but after that, it was almost like I started receiving information about other things, about creativity, about projects, about spirituality and the spiritual awakening journey. And I started recording videos online, and I started talking about kind of how to awaken, how to take care of your vessel, how to focus on the self growth journey, how to align with your purpose, and almost that the vision for the neo. I didn't even connect the dots that it the acronym was neo, until I started receiving a little bit more about it in 2024. And then you entered the chat in 2025 and you were like, we really need to start this. So I took that as a sign. And that's when I registered the New Earth Order as a company, as a limited company. It's Omni Neo Limited now. And the idea, the way that I'm seeing it, is a production company where we can get a lot of speakers and a lot of idea generators and a lot of channelers to share what they're receiving, because this is not a vision for one person. This has never been a vision for one person. I know that we've had multiple people throughout history with different prophecies, different channeled messages, and I feel like some of their vision, some of their wisdom got lost because they didn't connect. And I think this is going to be one of the key tools that we can use right now as we're restoring unity consciousness. What have been some of the most surprising visions around Neo that you've received that made you think, oh, I really need to share this right away, or I'm scared to share this?
Actually, I did have a dream. Um, it was about a few months ago. I think I told you about this dream, where I was with a group of people and we were all coming together, and I was helping, pick fruits and vegetables to feed the people. And I bit into this fruit that looked like it was a cross of apple and strawberry. And I couldn't, like, the taste was so amazing. It was so juicy. Um, and I've had other visions where we all live as one, we all live equally. And it's amazing, really. It's the peace that there is in this new earth, the love, the unity. It's you know, we just want to hurry up and get there.
I don't think
So
there's a shortcut to that vision. I think it's everyone has to do the individual work to awaken, to find how they can be of service.
yes.
Have you seen people on your path, maybe friends, relatives, that are also receiving information about the New Earth? Or does this seem to be like individual light workers that are receiving the vision to kind of illuminate the path for others around them?
Well, when it comes to the new earth, I haven't seen much people that actually are talking about it. There are people that are helping with the ascension and transmuting into the new earth. But as of the new earth, as the new earth order, there's not really much people.
No, I came across one woman, and as soon as I saw it, actually, it was a man that messaged me saying, "Oh, I heard this woman who was channeling from the future, and she said there is going to be a new Earth order with acronym NEO." And he looked for it online, and he saw that I had already recorded a couple of videos in 2023 and 2024. He was like, "Oh, that's already happening. So this, we're progressing in the right way." But at the time, I didn't have almost that inner instruction or the inner guidance or the inner motivation to proceed with it just yet. I knew that I had to share what I had received, but I didn't have that inner calling focus on it now. So I think January, when you messaged me, that was when I felt, oh, this is happening this year. We really need to set this up as kind of the foundation, set it up as a playground, even before the main puzzle pieces arrive. But you're right that there is a thing around integration, activation that is allowing us to merge with our higher selves and then align further with our calling. What would you say are some of the key habits that have helped you get more clarity around your purpose and more clarity around the vision? Because I know that some people that are watching, that are finding content around spirituality and the New Earth Order, they're gonna want to join, but maybe their lifestyle isn't fully a match to being of service as part of the New Earth lifestyle.
I think the most important thing when it comes to spiritual awakening is to do the healing. Start with healing and start with shadow work. As long as you do your shadow work, you start raising your vibration. Once you start raising your vibration, all this information starts coming in. You get to know yourself as well. It's the most important thing. Once you start knowing yourself, you start understanding what your purpose is and what your life path is as well. So the healing is the most important thing when it comes to spiritual awakening. I know there's a lot of information coming in and we're wanting to learn everything, but as long as we do the healing first, everything else will fall in place.
When you say shadow work, what do you mean by that? I think this is where a lot of people are scared when they hear the word shadow work. For one, some of them think this has something to do with witchcraft, and they think, "Oh, this is really dark for me. I don't want to do it." Other people are afraid to literally spend time with themselves and face their fears and overcome their limiting beliefs. And then there are others that have heard the term, and they may even have done some surface level shadow work, but they haven't really gotten to the depth of it. So, how would you guide people towards shadow work?
Well, shadow work is all these emotions and trauma that is stuck in the subconscious mind. So when you do shadow work, and especially what's happening now, when you say we're going through all these emotions, right? And one moment we feel okay, the next moment we're down, we're feeling a little bit lost, we're maybe feeling sad or anxious. Is all these emotions that are in the subconscious mind surfacing to the top. And what we need to do is really we need to acknowledge these emotions and understand where they're coming from. Because obviously they come from a past, especially from childhood. And we need to acknowledge them. We need to know where they come from. And with love, we need to let them go. So what I say, like to my children, I will tell them, just monitor, like observe your emotions. Just observe them and with love, let them go. Understand where they're coming from. That's pretty much what shadow work is.
Observe and do not react. And I would say also understand the patterns so that you don't repeat them, which can happen through the observation as well. It can also happen through repeating some mistakes time and time again until you're ready and you say, "Oh, I deserve more. I don't need to experience this pain again. I've learned the wisdom attached to this pain. I don't need to go through this cycle time and time again." You mentioned something really interesting, that once you do the healing work, once you do the shadow work, the vision starts flowing. And I've experienced it myself. I started receiving prophetic dreams, channeled messages, but once again, if somebody told me that's gonna happen, I probably would have been a little bit afraid. Oh, who's gonna connect with me on the other side? I don't wanna see ghosts, or I don't wanna see visions out of nowhere. I don't Some people are afraid to know the truth before it happens, but it's essential for us to not be afraid. But how would you walk through someone that's about to do the healing work, knowing that they're going to start receiving more of their consciousness, more of their higher self?
I would say once you start doing the shadow work and start understanding that fear is not really a part of us. And fear, once you start vibrating in love, you start letting go of the emotion of fear. So once, like I said, once you start doing your shadow work, you start vibrating higher and you start vibrating in the vibration of love. Then when you start receiving these informations, you won't have fear because you're vibrating in love. You're vibrating in the same frequency as the messengers giving you the message. So there won't be any fear when it comes to receiving that information or messages.
That is a very Very beautiful way to alchemize even the thought patterns around fear. That fear is a little bit of an illusion that we have been fed consistently as part of our societal onboarding. Do you believe, based on your observation so far, that everyone has a part to play in the New Earth and in the New Earth order? Or is there a certain group of people that would be part of the New Earth order in terms of leading and guiding and teaching, but everyone is going to experience the fruits of our labor? Or will everyone be part of it one day?
I believe that we're setting up the foundation for the future leaders. I believe there will be leaders, which are the children now. But I believe that the new earth is based on the law of one. And the law of one is what is it's more, it's 51% or more service to others. So we will be doing more service to others than we will ourselves. So we'll be living in connection and harmony with each other. So we will all live as one, and doesn't matter what role we do, we will all be working together.
Have we done this in the past? Are we replicating a model? I know some people have mentioned Lemuria, myself included, that there was a sense of unity and community back then of our ancestral patterns that we're trying to replicate now. Or is this something that's never been done before and we were crazy enough to volunteer to come to Earth and say we can do things in a different way? Because it's almost like it's our imagination that's weaving together the new Earth.
I believe that it has been done in the past, but not as a grand scale as now. That a lot of us will be ascending into the fifth dimension. I feel like more of a smaller group. Like I believe the Mayans were ascended as well. Um, but I feel like now it's different. I feel like the Earth has reset a few times, but this time it's going to be completely different because the third, third dimensional world is going to be it's going to be something completely different to what it has always been, and more of us are going to ascend into the fifth dimension than ever before.
Are there any industries for anyone that's watching us or listening to us that you would guide them to focus their attention on? For any leaders, teachers, positive change makers, such as the industry of education, which I believe it's one of the main industries that will be shifting as part of the new earth order. Perhaps, as you mentioned, the fruits, the going back to nature, agriculture, and raising new farms that are allowing both for community, both for replicating the community lifestyle where we have each other's back, where we actually spend time with each other. We're not spending hours in front of devices, but we also are growing food that is healthy, that's not destroying our body anymore. So these are two industries that I personally believe are going to be crucial. Anything that you would prioritize as a focus industry for the next few decades?
I wouldn't know how to answer that really because I feel like what's happening on Earth now in the 3D is everything is just going to crumble so that the new Earth can be born. So pretty much it's like starting zero again, starting all over again. What I've seen in the new Earth from what I've seen in my dreams is that it's a new Earth. It's completely it's undamaged, like having these buildings, these heavy buildings on Earth, or having these heavy streets. All these things that have destroyed Earth. We're having a whole new, completely new Earth on 5D. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It reminds me of New Earth architecture, which is one of the additional keywords that arrived as I was like putting the vision together. And as you're talking, I'm almost seeing that there might be new materials that we start building with so that the earth can breathe a little bit more.
Yes, we will also be more connected to the new Earth, and we will live in more harmony with her.
What about our ancestors? How do you see the future in our communication, for our communication with our ancestors? Because I know that right now there's a minority of people that can speak to the spirit realm, and a lot of people, when they cannot connect to their own higher self or their spirit team, they go to these specific channelers or spiritual practitioners. Do you see that in the future everyone's going to be able to receive guidance and even visit their spirit team, or allow their spirit team to kind of visit them in dreams, meditation, and so on?
Definitely. In the fifth dimension, we're definitely going to be more connected to our spirit team and to our higher self. When we are there, our vibration is going to be so high that we'll be able to connect with absolutely anybody we want.
Is there any danger to that? And what I mean by that is, I know that there's going to be a little bit of resistance as we're moving towards peace, and some people might still be corrupted by the power, because even the spiritual gifts, they're an aspect of power, because you're able to communicate and ask things and receive guidance from the other side. But on the other side, there are also energies and entities that have passed that are dark. Is there any danger to people actually connecting to more of the darkness and kind of bringing more of the shadows onto earth, which is, I think, the result of people already doing that, which is why the earth is so chaotic?
But like I said, once your vibration is pretty high and you're vibrating, especially in the vibration of unconditional love, which I feel like we should all start practicing, especially towards ourselves and then towards others. And once we start vibrating in that vibration, you only attract what you vibrate, the level of vibration you vibrate on. So, and when we're in the fifth dimension, it's going to be harder to contact or connect with these beings that are, you know, I wouldn't say darkness, because I believe there's a difference between darkness and evil, but with negative intentions. And we'll understand our discernment and our intuition a lot more. So we definitely won't won't be able to. We'll be able to, but as a choice, I highly doubt that we'll make that choice to connect with the more negative side of the spirit realm.
This was one of the pillars that came through justice. And as part of justice, I also see that the prisons that we have at the moment in the prison system is going to need to go through a reformation to allow for more of the education to flow in the prisons, to allow for more of the new earth frequencies and abundance to flow through the prisons. Because in my mind, the prisons are just a different type of school. Right now, they're a torture device. Right now, they're profiting someone who owns them. And there's a lot of bureaucracy involved in managing the system, especially when it comes to the prisons, even the schools. I mean, everything is bureaucracy at the moment. Everything is about the money, it's about the profit, it's about exploiting the human potential. And I feel like, as you're talking about people not making that choice, I think people are still going to make that choice, but over time and time of being the only person in a community that's likely to make that choice, they're finally going to turn to the community and say, okay, I'm ready to join now. Which is what we've been seeing at the moment, but it's almost taking the opposite effect. We have these lower frequency people, or people attached to lower frequencies, and they seem to be almost recruiting people to join them from the community. And I think
Yeah,
we're going to start to see the other effect of these. I'm not even sure what the word is to explain them. Addicted to these frequencies, they're going to start to, that addiction is going to start to wear off as they're exposed to more of the light. There is a good point that you made about the darkness, that the darkness is not bad, it's not evil. There is a difference between evil and darkness. What happens in the darkness? What connection do you have to the darkness?
I believe everything is both light and dark. Absolutely everything that exists, even in us, is light and dark. Everything that is made is light and dark, like our conscious and subconscious. Um, but I believe the darkness is important. I don't know if you've seen those videos where somebody pushes a person out of the way, and then you see that after they pushed them out of the way, something fell and it was about to fall on them, or or they trip over something, and then 10 feet, in front of them, they avoided something like a car crash or something like that. I believe that darkness is when the the taking away of something to prevent something bigger to happen. It's also helping you get to the light. It is important.
There's a lot of teaching and growth that happens in the darkness. And even if you think about planting the seed can only grow in the darkness while it's in the soil. And for anyone that's done any shadow work, any inner child healing, trauma healing, when you are reparenting yourself, you're almost getting buried in that soil so that you can grow anew, so that you can have your rebirth on earth. And those that are about to experience a spiritual awakening, they're going to experience that process themselves, that process of getting another chance at life, but this time with more awareness and with greater capacity. Because if you allow your intuition to lead you, you're going to experience more of the spiritual gifts. What would what would happen if you and I gave up right now? If you and I stopped believing in the new earth, in the new earth order, would there be another would there be replacement for us right away? What if everybody gave up? Would the earth just collapse?
If if everybody gave up, um, I guess we would be stuck. We'd be stuck in the third dimension, and what I've seen for the third dimension isn't really good at all. So, um, but I believe it's inevitable. I believe there's so many of us that are raising our vibration and doing the work, to raise the vibration, to transmute the grid, to, heal Gaia, to ascend to the fifth dimension. So it if you and me were to give up, definitely there will be other people that would, go on with the New Earth Order. But I'm not giving up. I know you're not either.
No, no. I'm just trying to paint the picture of the worst case scenario for people that are on the verge of believing, but not quite there yet. I had someone book a call with me a few months ago, and his response to me was when I asked him, "Was there anything in particular you want to talk about?" He's like, "No, I just decided to book a call with you because I wanted for you to tell me that I'm crazy and I should stop pursuing this because this seems like a lot, but it also seems like a fairy tale, and it also seems like it's not real." To which I responded to him, "I'm not going to tell you to stop believing. I'm not going to tell you that it's a lie because it's not. In fact, you've been living in the lie your whole life until the moment where you discovered there's more. You discovered your higher self, you discovered your purpose." When did you first experience your awakening? Or would you say that you've been connected your whole life compared to people around you?
I first started my awakening about 5 or 6 years ago. I was driving the car. And by then I was Christian, like the most Christian person you could ever imagine. Not that it's a bad thing; it's a great thing. But I was driving the car, and I had this vision that God was looking at me. And when I was Christian, I thought that God, was man with long white hair, beard, sitting on a throne. And I saw, I don't know if you've heard of it, the Helix Nebula or the Eye of God that's in space. But I saw this, and then I saw Jesus next to me. And that's when everything started. I was like, wait a minute, God is in the universe? And I was like, God, I need to know who you really are. And that's when everything in me just woke up. It's like, okay, I need to know the truth. I need to understand what's going on. I need to know who God is really, Who am I? And after that, just everything just, I started getting downloads of information. It's like I knew these things, this information out of nowhere, and it's just been going up ever since.
A lot of people want to believe in their spirit team, in archangels and angels, but they don't have proof because they're not able to connect to those energies. And you just mentioned that you saw Jesus Christ. I recently had an interaction with Mary Magdalene. So I've had personal experience, but I also have listened to a lot of stories from other people that have experienced their awakening. What would you advise people that want to have that experience? Can they ask for it? Can they connect when they want to? Or does the connection happen when they're truly ready or when it's time, when it's divinely guided?
Well, they can start asking for it, but I believe that like I said, the healing is important and the raising the vibration. Um, because these beings are beings of high vibration as well. So once you match that vibration, you start connecting with your higher self, with your guardian angel, your spirit guides. It's really amazing.
How did you raise your vibration? Are there any habits in particular that people can start with?
Start with feeling the love in your heart. I remember I was actually working 60 hours and I was always at work, but I work in a building with about 3,000 people. So I'm always surrounded by people. And I would always look at people and be like, okay, I love this person unconditionally. I love the other person unconditionally. And I would start practicing the unconditional love. And and I start understanding what unconditional love is. When you love somebody unconditionally, it means that no matter what they do to you, you will always love them no matter what. That's the problem with society now, is that they love conditionally, which means I have a girlfriend, but if she does something to me, I don't love her no more. I'll probably hate her and leave her and never ever speak to her again. Or if a friend does something to me, I don't love her anymore. So we need to understand what unconditional love is, and then we need to start practicing with ourselves, loving ourselves exactly how we are, and understanding ourselves, and then loving everybody around us unconditionally.
For many children, they arrived on earth without experiencing unconditional love from their parents because their parents were the first people to show them that conditional love. I love you, but if you make me angry, there are going to be consequences. I love you, but if you do this, you're not going to have dinner. I love you, but if you keep annoying me, I'm going to give you a reason to cry. These are some of the experiences many children that are now adults can relate to because they've almost suppressed these memories, but they remember those statements. How can people heal their hearts when it comes to their own parents? Because I think this is one of the biggest blockages when it comes to our ascension. We hold on a lot of anger, grief, resentment, confusion, even towards our parents, which is clouding our judgment and it's clouding our discernment and it's clouding the access to our higher self, to our gifts.
Yes, and I absolutely understand because I've gone through this as well. What really helped me was practicing forgiveness. And it won't take just one time saying, okay, I forgive you. Oh, goodness, it's going to take a very long time of understanding why you're forgiving them and how to forgive them as well. So it's practicing forgiveness towards them and understanding and love and understanding that our parents they were what you can call asleep most of their life as well. So you can say we're on automatic mode. They didn't understand love the way we do. They weren't as conscious as we are. So we need to understand that their journey was different from ours, and everybody has their own journey. So understanding their journey and practicing forgiveness as well will help you a lot.
We're breaking the cycles for the future generations, but in the meantime, we're going to have to leave behind some of the older generations, grandparents, even the parents sometimes. They're not changing and growing and evolving at the level that we are, especially if we're doing this actively every single day. We're committed to this practice, to our purpose. So there might be another emotion that we experience, which is the grief of abandoning the people that we love with unconditional love. What would you advise people when they find themselves at that crossroad? Do I stay behind to support my parents, my grandparents, my old friends, or do I proceed forward with what God has called me to do?
That is a very tough question. Because actually, I was thinking about this too. Because I have three children, and most of the time I talk about anything that has to do with awakening. They're like, "Oh, mom, just stop," or "You're crazy, mom," or "Can you stop talking about this?" And I thought, what's gonna happen if I do ascend, and my teenagers don't don't ascend with me? And then I started thinking, do I really want to do this? Like, do I really want to leave them and go? And uh, and then I remembered what I told you. We all have our own journey to live, and I need to understand their journey, and I need to understand my journey. And I came with a purpose here to Earth, just like each one of them came with a purpose here to Earth. And I just need to respect each and every one of their journeys. So if I were to ascend and they weren't, then I'd understand they need to learn something in their journey of life that will help them ascend in the future. So it's going to be so hard. I'm not going to say it's not going to be hard, but like I say, when you're in that unconditional love state, you just understand everything.
You understand and you allow and you surrender to the divine will, which is one of the crucial pivotal moments of your journey when you finally start to trust the guidance that comes from within and you understand, okay, I'm surrendering. Whatever religion you're practicing. I was kind of raised into a Christian family, but it wasn't something that we wouldn't go to like Sunday church. We wouldn't go to special classes or have a pastor for the family, or I have a Bible at home, but I wouldn't read it. And yet there was this voice inside of me that always had me aim to be better, correct myself if I make a mistake, or withdraw my energy if I feel like my spirit is not welcome or appreciated, which has always meant that I was on a path of independence from a very young age. And even the way that I had my connections with my family, there was a lot of remoteness, working remotely, living remotely, and then into my adult life, I traveled a lot. So from a young age, I know what it feels like to be detached, not in an unhealthy way, but rather in a way where it's very profound for my age to know this. And in many ways, I've experienced the, I don't want to call it neglect, but rather being forgotten because I don't require as much validation or as much presence because I learned what it's like to be connected with myself and with God and with the divine, which is something that a lot of people are learning to do right now. So we
Yes.
have the advantage, those of us that we have had that uh, wisdom from a young age. Maybe we didn't have the childhood we needed in order for us to have the childhood memories, but we had the onboarding needed for the purpose that we have on Earth. Anything that you would like to share as kind of the final message for people that are listening to this conversation, that are watching this conversation, and something that you would like them to end the episode with, end the conversation with, and remember and carry it with themselves?
Love is the answer to everything. Love is the key. Um, Practice as much love, as much unconditional love towards yourself, and practice as much unconditional love towards everyone around you. And also do as much service to others as you can. All these things are going to help raise your vibration, and it's going to help you in this journey.
One question I have for you, one final question is what would you say to people that misunderstand love? They only perceive love from the romantic lens. How would you help them expand their worldview around love?
Well, I would ask, how do you love yourself? And when you understand how do you love yourself, I want you to understand how you can love everyone else, because really we are all one. Just like Stella, you are me having an experience in a different body. We are all, everything that exists is one. Once we understand that, then we can understand to really truly love.
Okay, Stanker, I have one more question for you. Based on that, based on that answer, how would you help people break free from their warped image of themselves? People that view themselves as imperfect, flawed, whether they are underweight, overweight, whether they have gray hair, whether they have scars, whether they have disabilities, visible disabilities, or they have conditions that they are feeling are ugly. People that are unable to develop unconditional love for themselves, which we know it's the key to unconditional love for the whole world. You cannot have unconditional love for the whole world if you don't learn how to give that to yourself first.
I'd say one of the most powerful things is actually affirmations. So I would say to just go into a mirror and tell yourself about 10 times a day, 10 times in the morning, that you love yourself, right? Once you wake up. But also, every time you have these thoughts about yourself, you're putting yourself down, acknowledge these thoughts, just, hey, I'm thinking that I'm fat, and it's not okay. So let's transmute that thought. I am thin and I am beautiful. So, you should change your thoughts to positive thoughts. Most of these times, these thoughts come in unconsciously, so we don't really know that we're thinking it. So once we start acknowledging them and changing them, that's going to help us so much more.
Okay, final question for real this time. What about people that feel unworthy for the calling they've been given? And I'll give you an example because even I had that moment of breakdown when I realized what my calling was on earth as I was having a direct conversation with God. And I was like, why me? Do you really believe that I can handle all of this? There are so many more people that would be accepted in different ways than me because of the way that society is structured, even though I understand why my heart might be more in alignment with what is required in them. I know that there is resistance because I am not somebody else because of the societal standards.
I'm so glad you asked that question. I had a dream not too long ago where I was gifted the violet flame by El Moria. And in this dream, he was just giving me the gift, right? But he was also looking at me and he was like, yes, this gift is for you. But in one, he told me, stop humbling yourself. You're much more important than what you believe you are. And at that moment, I was like, wow. That's the problem with us. We always think we're unworthy. We always believe we are not enough. And that's what keeps us from achieving our goals and doing the things, our completing our purposes here on earth. So what I can say is just believe in yourself, and like Elmoria said, stop humbling yourself. You came here for a purpose, and you came here at this time to complete that purpose in this such important time we're in right now. So stop doubting yourself. Do what you came here to do, and do it passionately, and do it with love, and understand that journey was given to you, and you knew you were coming in to do this journey from the beginning.
I would almost say that some of us have done better than what we anticipated. And so some of us might even receive more activations and more gifts and more upgrades based on our performance while being here. What I mean by that is based on the choices, based on the value that we bring to society because of those choices, because we've consistently prioritized the purpose or the divine. And simultaneously, there might be other people that we came here with that have completely abandoned their purpose and us as part of their team members. So we might be getting some of their work because we can handle more of the calling. But with that, there will be more of the reward, I suppose, that's attached, so that our lives are not just this endless struggle, like Sisyphus pushing the rock down, up the hill, and then back down, and then up the hill. Because this is not what we're doing in the new earth. We're actually co-creating, and we're co-creating in a way where there is abundance that doesn't end. It just gets replenished, and there's more, and there is enough for all, just as we are enough.
Yes.
Thank you for your reflections, Maya. You've been a wonderful co-creator as we're setting the foundation for the new earth, for the new earth order. And I have a feeling there might be more of these constructs, like the new earth order, that will be popping up all around the world. I think the channeler that's first channeled that there will be a, well, it was actually after I heard already posted something, but she channeled that there will be something else happening in different regions of the world. So I guess we just have to stay tuned and wait for the instructions of the divine and who they choose to operate through. They will be the humble servants that lead with love.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
I appreciated our conversation and our connection, and I'm excited to see what 2025 brings for us, because it feels like it's going to be a pivotal year. And I'm so happy that you sent me a message at the start of the year to light up a fire under my ass, metaphorically speaking, which happened to be a spiritual fire, which happened to bring me closer to my divine spark and remind me why I started this journey. So thank you.
Thank you.